I will now introduce you again because I've already introduced all three of you. So it's a pleasure. I begin to know you right now. It's really nice, actually. We are now going to have a panel discussion. You are in the blue stream or stage, right? Yes, the blue one. And first of all, Tom, have you actually succeeded on the Easter egg hunt yet?
No, and I must admit, I'm not a super hunter, but I like gamification things. So, but I've not found the time to do it. But I will certainly do it later. If I can win a prize, I like it. I'm quite competitive, to be honest.
You know, you can win those really good noise reducing boosts.
I already have those, as you can imagine.
For all of you who hasn't bought any noise reducing boosts, please enter the Easter egg hunt, and then you will be you'll be able to win that. Okay, good. Good to have you here again. Elena Galkina from Ericsson, good to have you here again. Jenny Hjalmar Åkerblad from IKEA, good to have you as well. And Tom Haak as well. We have a number of different topics to talk about. Anyone, maybe Tom, you would like to start with, pick your favorite, maybe.
Well, my favorite of the week is chocolate. And I wrote a little column about chocolate because my wife, who works for a company I won't mention, but she got a chocolate bar at home. And then she said to me, she mentioned it to friends, and they said they all got chocolate bars from their employer. And I was saying, what is this that people think that if you send a chocolate bar to people's home, and often they are then wrapped in a message, that it's not the original wrapping, but there's a wrapping with the purpose statement or well, so I was annoyed by that, but I put it on the table because some people reacted and said, Tom, this is not the right annoyance. People like to get these type of presents at home. It's like a little bit like the headset. I say, if I want the headset, I buy it. You know, I have a good salary or I earn my money. And I don't need presents from people. I want, if I had an employer, I want to have thorough attention. Why don't those people phone the people? Why don't they do something personal instead of sending a chocolate bar in the mail? Subject number 1, the chocolate bar.
But it's hilarious. I mean, first of all, I would love to have chocolate, and the competition. I'm so competitive, so I don't care if it's a chocolate or it's a car. I just want to win. Okay. So you're talking to the wrong person. But I think it's interesting what you're bringing up, because I guess also what is the feeling when you get it? If I get something from my manager with a little handwritten thing, you know, like, then the little chocolate means much more to me than a pay raise or anything else. But when it comes with a standard, what you're saying is also triggering me, because then it's not authentic. Then it's just like, oh, we had a big, you know, like corporate discussion, and then we send it out. And then for me, it doesn't taste so good. So I'm with you. I'm with you there. It's all when you feel about the intention. Is the intention to see you, or if the intention to, let's do something because it's good.
We need to do something.
We need to do something. But I'm with you, Tom Haak. But I didn't know.
I like chocolate. I did some research. I said, how many people like chocolate? And it turns out that 70% of the people like chocolate. So it's not a bad present if you send something. What do you think, Elena?
Well, I'm among 30%, Tom, I must confess. But my husband is a chocolate lover, so I've experienced all sorts, you know, all brands. We have a little tradition at home with a nice antique bowl where I put a nice bit of piece of chocolate for the afternoon tea every evening, and it's a great opportunity, you know, to
But
surprise.
did Ericsson send around presents to the employees? Because many employers did it, boxes, presents, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think we've been sending chocolate as such,
Okay.
but yes, we had sent very nice Christmas gifts or New Year seasons gifts to all employees last year during the pandemic, to all 100,000 globally, and that was very well received.
All right. Urban, what's your view?
Well, and when I worked at Swedbank Group, which is a Swedish company as well, we always handed out Easter egg, actually, full of candy. And then I actually read an article that Swedish people are the most. We eat most candy divided per inhabitants in all of the world. So we love candy, apparently. So that's maybe why, I don't know, but I'm not so sure that it's well invested money, actually.
Related to that, and then I will leave room for the other, is that what I also see, that well-being is high on the list of topics. But then many companies, they focus a lot of on the well-being of their employees, but they don't show a lot of care for the well-being of suppliers, the well-being of other stakeholders in the company. And that I also find sometimes strange. Chocolate to the employees, but at the same time, many people are working under adverse conditions in other areas of the world. So the scope is too narrow sometimes on the well-being side.
But then again, we come back to this: what is the purpose of it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to make, you know, like we are in this together, we are one. It doesn't matter if you're employed here, that you get paid, or is this. And again, and then of course I come from a company that also involve a lot of suppliers. If I can brand ourselves a little bit in that. But again, it comes down to the intention, the purpose, because then you take in all, because this is something we want to raise, you know, like into it. But if it is only to, you know, like, how would I say, just to make sure that you're staying here. Yeah, exactly. Tick the box, and you will feel it so much. And then, of course, it's nice to see you did a great job. It was a tough year. We can't pay that much money for a Christmas gift. We do a little smaller, but we just want to acknowledge all of you. Fantastic. But the big impact, the time when I grow, then it is when I feel seen as Jenny, of course. And I think everyone feels it.
HR IKEA, and I don't know anything about it. What is the scope of HR? Is it the people on the payroll? Is it also the people who are supplying goods? Is it people who are temporarily working for you? Is it what is the scope of HR?
The scope is the world, of course, for the many. Now, but you can say it's on a different. You can say it's on a more philosophical world. If I look at my scope, of course, I'm hired by one legal entity in IKEA. I'm there to work with leadership and competence for those people, but I'm also there to really support the vision we have, and that is create everyday life for the many people, by the way. And that is also including how are we interacting with all our customers, with all our suppliers. I mean, we are part of, you know, like different, I would say movement in, you know, like how can we get closer to our 17 sustainability development goals, etc. So when I look in my mirror every day, I really, and I know I sound like I'm totally brainwashed, and I am probably, but I also feel like, no, but you are not only working for this limited amount of people, you are also contributing to something else. So that is how I feel when in it.
No, I think that's Elena. How is that in your organization?
Yeah, I think it's very similar. I mean, of course, we have a number of employees in different countries, but we are not alone in the value chain. So we have a lot of dependencies with suppliers, external workforce that we bring to work on projects, and also, you know, our customers. So we look at it much broader, what kind of impact we can make on the society.
No, I can follow. If Jenny is saying the world, jokingly a little bit, but I can follow that. Saying, yeah, what are we doing as a company to make the world a better place? And not all the organizations take that point of view. Urban, what is high on your list? What's on your list of subjects?
Now I'm just sitting here and wondering. Maybe people think you are bragging about your company, Jenny, but actually there are a lot of companies who are envying IKEA about what you have actually what you have established in terms of a fantastic culture. And that is something that I don't know that many companies who got that culture in, well, you know, togetherness and it's not the individual, it's the group that is more important, and the customers, of course, and making a better world. And I think many companies would like to say that with great trustworthiness, but I don't think there are so many companies that could say that in the way that IKEA can actually. So a little bit more more sharing about IKEA, but I think that you have got something there which is hard to release in other companies actually.
And I'm happy to hear that. And of course, I am bragging a bit, and I'm like very attached to the company. I even say that I have a relationship. Maybe my husband thinks that is a little bit weird, but it also makes that it's ups and downs. So IKEA is not perfect, not at all. But I think it's attracting also people who want to work for different kind of purposes. So, but I'm happy to hear that you say that. I get a little proud. Now I'm in 185 here. So.
Okay, so from chocolate to IKEA, where do we go next, Tom? Do you have any? If I can choose something.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I've done my chocolate, so.
Yeah, you have done yours enough. Let's go into ice cream or something.
No, but I'm a little bit we have talked a lot about innovation, creativity. That is the most important words today. I mean, you are talking about this when you have new leadership criteria, for instance. There are quite significant changes there now, and we have also seen now the potential of DE&I in terms of creativity and innovation, and many companies are now thinking about how can we release the innovation and so on. And now we have listened to well, a few speakers at least that has touched upon this, and I'm very curious about how do we stimulate and creativity and initiatives. I'm really impressed about you at Ericsson about this Ericsson One, for instance. But do we have other examples of companies or activities that actually make that a good place to work in terms of here can I be innovative and creative?
I'm thinking, about this entire hybrid workplace going forward, which in my view will, to a big extent enforce creativity, because people will it will be much more inclusive environment for people to collaborate and to contribute to make it much more better conditions to accommodate, their family situation, their work-life balance. So I'm looking forward to actually when we will start to return to the offices. We haven't started yet at Ericsson. We're still working from home, but I think it will be such a boost to providing much more innovative and much more collaborative space for the people going forward.
I can also see that then creativity is I think it's such sometimes a word that we make a bit complicated, because it's we all have it in us, I would say. Sometimes we just say, like, okay, it's those creative people, and we put them in a corner, and they are the ones, and then it's the rest of us. We are mediocre and very have business navigation. They are not creative at all. And for me, it is to release this, that we have it in us, and it comes out in different ways. And if it's one tool, I would love to, and I always do that. It's like the playfulness, the play. Also going back to a bit when you were younger, what was it that triggers you there? And I don't mean to play as a child. That is not what I mean. You play in your way, but to release, to don't think so much, but to go into the space to love, to try new things, to use maybe some physical things to do it, to release or dance. That's my favorite thing, just for a couple of minutes and then go into a new. So, I mean, there are many things, and Elena, I'm so with you. I think this is the possibility, but it's just sometimes we make it so intellectual with creativity. And we need to find those ways. How do we do it, and how do we release the energy to be creative? So, and one way I actually think that I'm missionary a lot about it is the power of play, of having fun, of laugh, to think a little bit less and take it a little bit less serious. Now it's totally sweaty.
I like your idea, Jenny, with the simplicity, and I think it starts really with yourself, but also I think managers play a really important role to unleash, the potential and create this kind of playful environment, if you wish, for the team.
Yes.
To get the best out of everyone individually and the team collectively.
Yes, and it's not for everyone to be, I mean, I'm a pretty extrovert, moving person, but to be playful in but like you said, manager to create a space for you to be not according to a format or a competence profile, but to take out, because if you just spend enough time with every people have something when they are super creative, and to get out, you got my point. I will stop.
I think that I'm totally with you. I think we underestimate things like coincidence. So there are things, that is coincidence, and I'm with Elena that the uniform measures around home working have not helped that. And I've heard complaints about that people say, well, of course, but also if you work in creative professions or research and development, you need you need the environment. You need to be able to walk to your colleague and say, "Hey, Jenny, I've saw. What do you think?" And you don't do that immediately when you are sitting and the threshold is too big to phone you and say, But if you're across me, or I wave to you, or we have a walk, so coincidence, and then meeting strange people. And we discussed that earlier. No, but where do you meet strange people? Well,
Here.
I don't meet them at home, luckily, I would say, but I don't meet them at home. I sometimes meet them in conferences, but then it's also a safe environment of HR people. So you need to travel, and you need to bump into, and I think so that's also an element of, still, I would say, the old Zeppels, I'm sure you know Zeppels, they put their big home of their head office in downtown, I think it was downtown, where is not Los Angeles, but where the casinos are,
Las Vegas.
Downtown Las Vegas. But because then there people would meet all kinds of strange people, because downtown Las Vegas is not such a pleasant surrounding. But most of the office, I don't know where you are, Elena, but I see a typical office in the back. And they are somewhere in a nice place where it's very difficult to meet strange people, because they are blocked. So casual collisions, coincidence, and the third element is also is a little bit I discussed that partly in my presentation, is friction. Not everything should be smooth, because out of friction, there's also creativity. If we make life too smooth for people, then maybe we creativity suffers a little bit as well.
But that's a tricky part, Tom, because now I don't know. You said you're a psychologist, or maybe you have studied neuroscience, and you know that the brain is. I once said that the brain is lazy, and then someone said to me, "No, you can't say the brain is lazy because it has no characteristics or personalities. So you have to say that it saves energy." So the brain likes to save energy. And because it's much easier, of course, with no friction at all. The brain loves no friction at all, because then it's more easy to take care
but take,
of.
for example, if you transform to the HR, I study more the HR domain, so I can then what we have seen in the past year, that by the friction of the COVID crisis, a lot of changes suddenly, you could say the friction went a lot faster. Suddenly things were possible. often not as maybe transformational as we would like to see them, but still that pressure helped enormously. And I think that's a positive thing of the COVID-19 crisis that we've seen in the HR domain.
Yeah, I agree with you. But as I also say that, the COVID made us no choice. So we had to move into that. But if you are talking about leadership, for instance, I always say that it's not easy to be a leader. It's a tough work, and you get paid for that. So don't take the shortcuts and the easy parts. You have to challenge yourself. And this is, just meeting and talk to people that are strange or different to you. That is, of course, something that you have to work with. And how could we maybe implement that as a good leader criteria, to dare to meet people that are not the same as you and don't think the same way that you do, and so on, because that is where you create creativity and innovation, of course.
Not just leaders.
No, not just leaders.
That's the point, because I, like Elena said, it's maybe less about leadership than about other people in the organization.
But I'm with you, Thomas. One of my biggest challenges during the pandemic was about meeting strange people that I don't work with every day. So I'm just curious, do you have any good tips how to overcome that, since we are working from home until the year end?
Well, there are, I'm not necessarily in favor, but there's a lot of startups coming to me, say, hey, Tom, we have something nice. What do you think? And the last weeks, it's all about creating strange connections. So apps that say, okay, for example, you have Lunch Club. I don't know whether you use it. Lunch Club is such an app where you can have lunch every Friday with something, not necessarily strange, but at least someone out of your comfort zone. I tried it for a little while, and all the people I connected with were looking for a job, so it didn't work very well for me. But there are technology solutions that might work. Last week someone pitched, I forgot the name, apologies for the starter, but it was something like cup of coffee ? And then with that tool you could register and say, well, I'm working on this area, who can help me, and let's meet for a virtual coffee for 20 minutes or something like that. So that's one element to do it. But I don't have the solution, because for me it's often traveling, and I cannot do that. But virtually, I met more people online, of course, also. But partly it's because people reach out to me and say, hey, Tom, can you speak to us? We have a nice idea. And that stimulates me, at least. Yeah.
Cool. But isn't it also that, I think about these strange people, and I like it a lot. I sit in Älmhult, a very small place in south of Sweden. Maybe not so lot of strange people, but is it also this, when I hear you saying the app, and so it's also this to take time to see what is the strange things in Tom that I actually meet every day. Because it's also to stop, because sometimes, again, this we're doing a bit more complicated, because I can actually, I'm sure that all three of you are pretty strange somewhere, even if you look normal and act pretty normal. And there are some strange things in you, but then I need to take time to see where could that be, or because I'm with you, but I also think that this friction is not, we are not just jumping into that, but how can we create, like this environment where we find the friction, because we keep on discussing here, there will be some friction as well and some strange things. So that is where my thing is, that we don't look beyond and you will find the strangeness. Maybe that's a good slogan.
Yeah.
Can I pitch that to you, Tom?
Absolutely. An app, making an app is very easy. So.
Yeah, but to take the time to see beyond that's murder. So.
But taking the time, that's also connected to the first element. So that's not around the innovation, but about the connections. Still, I meet many people that have not regular contact with their supervisors, and that's still happening a lot. They don't take the time just to call or to walk along or to contact people, say, hey, how are you doing and how can I help you? And I find that still very surprising that's and you can't structure that you can structure it, but then it becomes, but why don't people do that?
Yeah, and I told him I'm so with you with that, because it's also this when we talk about leadership, for example, and then it's like, oh, it's the digital leadership, it's the hybrid leadership, it's whatever leadership.
Yeah,
and in one way, there is leadership, and it's, see and hear, and picking up the phone is like you will go very far on connecting and seeing and listening to your people. And that is, you don't need a fancy thing. You don't have to
no.
develop your hybrid, leadership, because it's about this. So, and for me, it goes down to also, like see people, call them, take a 5 minutes. I think it's brilliant. That's it.
That's not HR that should then make a schedule, and then you are lost. But the question is, why is it not happening? Maybe it's happening in your organization, but I see many people I meet and I ask them, how is that going? And they say, well, yeah, often it's very functional as well. Yeah, if something is wrong, then they pick up the phone. Or if it's not on time or whatever.
I've actually been working with some parts of our organization now during pandemics to promote speak up culture and make sure that people have opportunity to raise their voice. And what I've been preaching, that on Teams it's actually so easy. You can pick anyone from a global organization. If a person is green, you just start the chat or give a quick call. It's much more easier and much more inclusive than bumping into a senior leader at a coffee machine, right? I think it works for many people, but not for all, of course. I think we all miss physical connections and meeting each other face to face.
We have a question actually. From Norway, I don't know, Truls Vendelbø. Play and love, couldn't agree more, and allow people to explore their individual purposes and connect it to their work life. What are your playful daily habits? Who will start?
I can start. I dance, like sometimes just very short. And that is one good thing of working from home, because no one can see me. Actually, I don't have a problem if people see me either, but I take 3 minutes of disconnecting from the screen. And then I am actually, if I can brag about myself also, Tom, I am pretty good to connect to both my team, but also to other colleagues, and to spread a bit of love. So.
I must say, I'm quite. I like quiz as a format to put people, put people's ideas and thoughts and attitudes and so on. Well, make them available for everyone, and that's a good way to in some way get rid of the tension in especially when you talk about things that are a bit it's not so, you don't feel so secure and safe to talk about it. Using quiz, then everybody has possibility to go out and maybe be a little bit out in the dark and feel unsafe. But because if you do that in a group, it's okay for everyone to do it. So quiz and things like that can make things a little bit more not so tense then, and then you can get deeper into your discussions, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a great example, Urban, how you can engage with the team. I mean, from my perspective, it's more about myself and how I can get peace during a long working day, but I am, I have a privilege to be surrounded by my family and 2 kids, so I can also spend 10 minutes with them to take a break. I have my dog, which is also very good therapy to play. But again, looking for positive sides for working from home, and I'm sure I will miss those when we're back.
I'm luckily I have a company of 1 person, and that's me.
So you're a great company. Yeah, that's lovely.
And so, and I'm a very disciplined person. So there are some things I do almost every day, and I like them. But and that's running, playing bridge, and learning Spanish with Duolingo. And those things keep me. I like, and they're playful, but it doesn't affect anybody else. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you, Truls, for the question. Nice question.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good reminder also to, you know, like not only talk about it, but also look into yourself. So are you living what you're preaching? Absolutely. So it's always good.
Okay, do we have time for another question maybe? Anyone would like to bring up a topic?
No, I think
we're done, said Tom. Okay, now I talked to these 3 people, it's enough. So I think nice.
The box.
Take the box on that one.
Closing question on chocolate.
Yeah, exactly.
Once a company sent, I'll end with the chocolate story as well. So a company I did a little presentation for, they couldn't pay me, but they sent me a bar of chocolate. So when I came home from my holidays, I found it in my mailbox, which is outside. Everything was chocolate in the mailbox. Oh my God. So
nice surprise.
nice surprise. Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of chocolate. I think. Yeah. All right. I think we have a break now, Urban.
Right.
Thank you for the lively discussion. And,
thank you.
Yeah, super.
Likewise.
Good to see you all.
And yeah.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.